Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Tanner's Favorite Things. I'm Tanner Knight, and today we have a box. It's already kind of open here, but luckily it hasn't burst open, so let's do the rest and see what's inside. So, what the hell is this? It says nothing on it. Well, it is a Peavey product, and if you guessed that it is a microphone, then you would be correct. This is the Peavey, as in P-E-A-V-E-Y, and then the model number, PVM328. And this is a drum-specific mic, and it comes with a nice mount here, which is great, its own XLR cable, and of course, the main event, the microphone here. So this is the Peavey PVM328 dynamic microphone. So this is a dynamic, not a condenser microphone. It is chunky, so that's pretty nice. The carrying case is always a plus to have something like this, makes it feel a little more premium. I guess we get a little adapter in case the mic stand is not the correct size. So everything you need right here, right now. So let's go ahead and compare this to what is currently on my drum. And you'll notice this is a single microphone, and this is kind of the first step in a new quest to replace all the microphones on my drums. Right now I've got a bunch of, it's kind of a mishmash. It's a SM57s on the lower two toms, and then an EVPL88 on the upper tom. And even the snare microphone is another mishmash, an AKG D5. So this will be another mishmash, but I hope to acquire another couple, I don't know, a set of these, maybe 3, so I can have each tom mic'd up with the snare and kind of put this thing through its paces and see what it sounds best with. So we're going to try it out today in a few different instances and a few different locations. So let's go ahead and take a look at what's there right now so we can get a baseline, and then we will take a look at this PV328. All right, let's start at the darkest part of this kit right now. This is the AKG D5 that I mentioned earlier. It's a really nice microphone. I find it's very adequate for snare and hi-hat and just capturing this area of the kit. Next, we have the aforementioned EV Electro Voice PL88, which is kind of duct taped on here, unfortunately, but you know, sometimes that's the way to get the sound you're after. Tonal duct tape. So that's on the 13-inch. On the 14-inch, I've got an SM57, pretty standard, that lives right there and does just fine. The one thing I've never really been happy about is the placement of this next mic on the large tom. I ran out of clip mics. I've got this kind of little tactical deal here, which I've positioned to just put the SM57 underneath the tom of the 18-inch. So it's really not my ideal setup, but it does just fine, which you'll see here in a second. So let me go ahead and play a little bit and get a bass line, and then we'll position this Peavey in various spots. And I almost forgot to mention, the mic on the kick drum is also a little bit ghetto, but it actually kicks pretty hard. This is the MXL Guitar Cube microphone, which is actually the same exact product as their drum cube, just marketed differently. I happen to have the guitar one. I put it here and it works really, really well. We'll show you that isolated as well and try to swap that out. This one is a condenser microphone, so slightly different gain levels and everything. Again, the Peavey is a dynamic microphone, so we'll have to see what kind of differences that shows. Okay, so let's get a bass line here. We'll start mic by mic. Here's the D5. So that's just the D5. Here is the PL88. PL88. We got an SM57 on this tom here. It likes to float, so I kind of reposition it, but it sounds like this. SM57 underneath the tom, the big 18. Here it goes like this. And finally, the MXL Guitar Cube. That sounds great. I don't know what it sounds like on the microphone, but that kick just sounds so good from where I'm sitting that I don't think it matters what microphone you put in front. That thing's gonna sound awesome. So there you go. There's every microphone isolated. Here is the entire kit, mic'd up en masse with a slight mix, but no effects, reverb, or anything like that. We're just gonna go with a dry signal here. And it sounds like this with all of these mics as is. So before we get this installed, let's take a closer look at the mechanisms that we have here. This is our mount, and it has a little dial here that threads like so, and it opens up like that. And once you have the proper tension, it locks back down. So a nice little mechanism. Next, we have the microphone itself. It's a very sturdy microphone with a nice, I don't know if this is aluminum or steel cage, but it's really heavy duty. And its mount seems like it's built for the long haul. It is screwed on there. There is a screw. So if this breaks, it's replaceable. I always like modular parts. But let's go ahead and get this thing mounted up. I'm going to try this on the kick first, just because I think that's a good place to start. So let's go ahead and mount this up. So first of all, we're going to screw this onto the clip, because I am going to utilize this clip for sure. That's part of the reason I bought this thing, because it did have this nice mounting system. Not all of them do on the used market. Okay, so it also comes with this nice XLR cable that has a 90-degree, which is not something you see very often either. So cool, we got this cable. I'm not going to use it. I'm going to keep it in here for now, just because I have all of my cables nicely routed, or nicely enough. So let's go ahead and swap this out for the MXL Guitar Cube and get a bass line and hear what that bass sounds like. All right, so I checked my levels, and this microphone requires about, I don't know, 15% boost on the decibels of the gain. So I bumped it from about 15 up to about 30, and yeah, it sounds like this. All right, that's this microphone on its own. Let's go ahead and hear it with the rest of these mics engaged. Here we go. So there it is on the kick. Let's move it around to the snare. All right, so I had to drop the decibels about 15–20% on the snare. That obviously has to do with the proximity to it. It's much closer than the D5 was, but let's see how it captures on its own. And here it is in the whole mix. Now, just to jog your memory, here it is with the D5 once again, just the D5. All right, let's move on and see what this sucker sounds like on a tom. Start with the smallest first. For those of you interested, I had to drop the decibels once again, drop the gain on channel 4, which this was by about 10%, maybe 15, and it sounds like this. So that's on its own. I like to play the other ones just to double check the bleed that comes through on the mic, just to get an idea of what that sounds like, because there will be bleed in any situation. But let's go ahead and hear the whole kit together. And just to jog your memory, here is the PL88 on its own. All right, I think that we're okay if I skip the 14-inch tom and go straight to the Big Daddy. This is really why I bought this microphone, to replace the SM57 underneath this big-ass tom. So I have it positioned right here on the edge, so I assume it's going to catch a little bit of bleed on the ride cymbal and probably some crash. But for the most part, I've got it directed towards the top of this big-ass tom. So here's what it sounds like on its own with the tom and these two cymbals. And here's the whole kit. Well, that's really all I wanted to accomplish today. It's actually more than I wanted to accomplish today. I just wanted to get it on that big 18-inch tom, but I thought that it was worth positioning it around the kit and seeing if there's any discernible difference between that microphone and my current microphone setup, because as I mentioned, I'm looking to replace all of the microphones. The other option that I looked at pretty heavily was the Sennheiser E604. This is a Sennheiser microphone here, so I'm pretty familiar with their wireless microphones at least, and some other handheld microphones, but those tom microphones, the E604 tom microphones, look really small form factor, like they just have a real good purpose-built design to them, and I really want to check those out, but they're kind of expensive, and money don't grow on trees around here. So until that happens, I'm going to try these Peaveys, because you know what a fanboy I am of Peavey. So I'm going to go ahead and try the Peaveys first. If I don't like them, then I can always sell them. That's the case with everything, but I hope that I like them, and I hope that I like the sound that I'm about to spend a lot of time editing down just to get through all of those clips. So thank you for watching. Hopefully you like this style of content. I know that I'm not the most proficient drummer, but I love this stuff so much. I love this kit. It's such a great kit, and I want to capture it as best as possible and incorporate it into my music as much as I can. So that's what's going on here, the Peavey PVM328. For your listening pleasure. I'm going to keep this on the kit and Every track that you hear with drums in it will feature this microphone on the lower 18-inch tom, and hopefully you'll be able to pick it out. So I'm Tanner Knight. Let me know if you have any questions or comments. Please like and subscribe if you like the style of content. That always helps. And I hope to see you on the next one.